This week is one whole year with our Harvest Right freeze dryer. So this week I wanted to share how we've been using our machine, how often we've actually put it to use, what we think about it, whether we think it's been worth it, whether we've had any trouble with it, just all of the things that come with 1 year of ownership of an appliance like that. And we just thought we'd share how it's been going. So come along. So this is our large Harvest Right freeze dryer. It has 6 trays. And we did purchase an extra set of trays. And so this is the machine that we've been using for 1 year this week. So we have that large freeze dryer, we have an extra set of trays, and we do have a set of silicone molds. And so first I'll just talk about those items. The machine itself was pretty easy to set up. The instructions do a great job telling you how to get started and run your first batch. So all of that was really easy. I did talk to customer service because I thought something had gone wrong on my first batch, which I actually have a link to my 5 batch review, and I talked about that. Customer service was great. There was actually nothing wrong with my machine. I was just overthinking it. The extra set of trays I think has been super important. I have probably not utilized them as much as I could, and we'll talk about how many batches I've actually done in the last year. But having that extra set of trays means I can prep something while something is in the freeze dryer. I can get something else into the freezer and pre-frozen, and that is a huge help. I've done that with milk. I've done that with different things like apples or veggies. If we have a lot of something, we can actually prep and chop and get everything ready for 2 whole sets worth and just pop 1 in the freezer and 1 in the freeze dryer. So that has been really helpful. The silicone molds I've used a few times actually for ice cream, which made pretty cool little bite-sized ice cream chunks, but I haven't used it for anything else, and they're super cool to have. I got a gift card for them, so I don't regret buying them, but I think they're about $100 for a set of those molds, and I really haven't utilized them much. I'm not quite sure what a better use for them would be. Off the top of my head, maybe putting broth in those would make like bouillon cubes. I'm not sure. So those are, if you've got a specific use that you think you'll use them for, then go for it. But I don't know that I would highly recommend them, only because I haven't found a ton of use for them. The next accessory I got was, I think it's freeze drying accessories. I'll find the link. There's a separate website. It's not Harvest Right. Freeze drying supplies, I'm pretty sure it is. And they have tray stackers. So they're these little green clips that go on the edge of the trays, and those are worth their weight in gold. I do only have 1 set of them, and that's not too much trouble because when they're in the freeze dryer, I take the clips off and then I use them to stack them up, either to carry them down there or to stack them up to carry them back up to put away the freeze dried food. I can also use them to stack things up in the freezer while the trays are pre-freezing. And I haven't really found a case where I need 2 sets of them. I'm sure I could have used them once or twice, but really just the 1 set is fine. Sometimes I'm taking it off and putting them back on, but that hasn't been trouble at all. And then also from Freeze Drying Supplies, I bought their Y tube. It goes on the drain hose. I'll show you a clip of that. It goes on the drain hose so that if you open it and you accidentally still have water in your drain bucket, it cannot suck it back up into the machine. And that was just a few dollars. You could make it yourself from the hardware store, but I don't know about you. My hardware store never has all the parts you need, and so I figured for the few bucks, and I was ordering other things already, I just threw it in there. So that's the accessories and parts that we have with our machine. Other than that is just some spare oil to change the oil, and that has been super easy. There are tons of great YouTube videos on how to change the oil. It is super simple, super easy. The machine itself comes with a filter so you can actually strain out the oil and reuse it. You can buy replacement oil at Tractor Supply, and or online or whatever. It's pretty easy to work with. So that experience has been great. We have not had any other issues with our machine. It works great. So far so good. 1 year in, we're happy with how it's been working and the accessories that we have. I thought I'd come hang out by the goats here while I talk about our freeze dryer a little bit more. They're so cute. They get up and say hi. Hi guys. They don't have anything for you. hopefully all these ladies are bred for the spring. They should be all good to go. Anyway, now that we've talked about the accessories and the tools, I think the next thing would be how many batches have we actually done in 1 year? I counted them up. I could have missed a few, but I think I got them all. I usually actually write them down and write any notes of how the food comes out or whether I like it or not, and I use that to keep track of when I need to change the oil. So 43 loads is what we've done this year, and that's a mix of veggies and fruits and herbs and chicken broth and milk, and we've done some candy, all sorts of different things, and so far it has been awesome. Some of our favorite things that we've done, I'd have to say the apples are probably mine and several of my kiddos' favorite. I do love apples, but sometimes they can get mealy or they're just not all the right texture, and the freeze dryer takes that out. So it is awesome. We can use apples that may not actually be great fresh eating. As long as the flavor is good and the apple's good, that flavor gets concentrated down in a freeze-dried slice, and all of the texture is evened out. It's got this light, crispy, airy texture, and it's really good. We really like those. So apples have been a lot of fun. Pineapple is great. It takes quite a while. Pineapple's a longer fruit, but we really enjoy that. Jalapenos are probably the most fun we've had with our garden produce. We've done jalapenos and then we powder it, and that has been so good to sprinkle on pizza, tacos, anything that you would possibly want a little bit of jalapeno on. It has been delightful. The other thing we've done a bunch of are our fresh herbs. That's been medicinal herbs like comfrey and calendula and plantain and all sorts of things like that. But it's also been our like spice herbs like thyme and oregano and basil. And that has been super fun. When they come out freeze dried, then you just powder them up and put them in a spice jar, an old one or a new one or whatever, and use them as spices. Now you do have to be careful. Definitely don't use as much as a dried spice recipe would call for, because the flavor is so intense, and it's practically like eating fresh, which is super cool because it's a way to preserve things like basil, which die as soon as it gets cold, or just herbs that sometimes thyme has actually been really hard for me to grow or have a lot of. So as I successfully get some, I can freeze dry it and then have it as a fresh spice in the cabinet. Oh, hello, Bubby. Hi, River. Anyway, spices and herbs have been really awesome. I can make tinctures from freeze-dried herbs, and so it's been super cool. That's probably been one of the most practical uses for it. The food is fun, and I have a lot to learn in that department, but the herbs have been super useful. And probably the thing that gets used the most often. So there are a few things that I wish we had done a little better at. 43 loads in a 52-week year means that we did not even have a load going once a week. Hello. Hi. This is River. She's our guard doggy. She's been such a good girl. I love having her out. Anyway, the one thing we have not gotten a chance to do, we just haven't made it a priority, is an actual full meal. Something like cooking chili and then putting it right on the freeze dryer trays and freeze drying it so that it can be stored. Kind of like canning chili, but then all you have to do is add boiling water and it reconstitutes a chili. And I just haven't gotten around to it, but I do have a freezer full of tomatoes from our garden, and hopefully this winter that can be something that I make a priority. I think that can be a really good use of the machine and a really beneficial thing for us to have kind of those fast food type options when we, don't have time to cook or don't feel like cooking. And that I have not done well. So I have freeze dried some things like carrots and celery and chicken broth to kind of help make like a cup of soup type thing, but I didn't quite find the right noodles to make that happen. But we've still used it in the house, so I have definitely used some of the freeze-dried chicken broth and things like that, and that has been so nice to have on hand. But we could do better there. So that's my area of growth, is to utilize it better for actual meals and taking off the burden of trying to cook every night. So something else that is a potential that I haven't really explored much, and I'm not sure that I am going to, but there is a lot of potential to make money. I don't know if you've been to any sort of fair or like festival type thing, but the number of booths that now sell freeze-dried goods, candies, things like that on the side, it seems like it's more and more booths each year. But I think there's really a market for that, especially if you are offering products from your homestead or things like that. Because I think the candies, the Skittles and stuff are probably the most common, but you could get the organic Skittles, the Yum Earth candies and stuff like that. I think there's a real market for that if you are looking to try to make some extra money or recoup some of the cost of the machine. I think there's definitely a market for that, even depending on what the laws are in your state, doing things like dog treats or even like little ready to go MRE type meal things. I think that you could come up with all sorts of business ideas for that. We don't necessarily homestead to try to make a lot of money. We try to homestead to make our lives easier with the better quality of food. So I